Gamers, Master Duel is pretty fun again, at least for me. Maybe not for everyone. I know people, if anything is the best deck, they hate it. But for me, it was particularly Malice. So basically, your Mitsurugi cards are reptiles. The glue that sticks both of these engines together is King of the Feral Imps. This card is a rank 4, generic rank 4 that can search a reptile card. So oftentimes you'll be going for this to search the Habakiri. Then Habakiri can summon the Saji from the deck. This guy can search one of your spells. You have a Mitsurugi ritual spell here, which basically works like a ritual version of Branded Fusion. It is incredibly insane, and you get to use both of its effects once per turn. One to ritual summon from your hand with materials from the deck, and one to ritual summon a monster from your deck with materials from your hand or field. It is pretty crazy, pretty broken. So that's basically the gist of it for, how you get into it from Ryzeal. And then the flip is also true, where even if you start off with the Mitsurugi engine, you can tribute from your deck a Nightsword Serpent, which is going to come back to the field and be a level 4 on the field. And then you can also use either just the initial summon from your Habakiri of a level 4, or you can search a Prayers within your combo, which can special summon one of your Mitsurugi cards from the grave, including these level 4s here. And so you can easily also, starting from the Mitsurugi engine, just go into a Ryzeal Duo Drive, which is also a generic rank 4. So you go into Duo Drive if you're starting with Mitsurugi, and you go into King of the Feral Imps if you're starting with Ryzeal. They glue together extremely well. They both are really good at making rank 4s. So why play Mitsurugi in Ryzeal? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One of the biggest ones is really just that you get more starters. Your 3 copies of Prayers are essentially 3 extra copies of Ame no Habakiri at the start of the game. So you get like 6 extra 1-card combos within your deck. You also have a lot of extra 2-card combos just from like Saji plus Prayers being really crazy. This also makes it a bit more likely that you're not going to be stuck on one of those awkward hand trap only hands that Ryzeal can get sometimes, where you get one of your Garnets, like one of your Ryzeals that don't really do anything, like a Node plus a bunch of hand traps. Now that's not necessarily always bad. Sometimes just those hand traps can carry you to victory on turn 2, but it can be a little bit awkward depending on the matchup. So that's a pretty big aspect of it as well. Now when it comes to recursion, that's another thing that you get really from this engine. The Mitsurugi Prayers gets 2 effects if you tribute a reptile monster on activation, and you get to add a Mitsurugi monster from deck to hand. Then you can also lose 800 life points to special summon a monster from your grave. The way this loop works is that on opponent's turn, you can go for Prayer, tribute your Murakumo, and then use the Prayer to bring back essentially like your Kusanagi. Kusanagi can then add back Prayers, and your Murakumo is going to trigger in the grave to special summon itself. And you can do this essentially every turn. So you keep getting back your Prayers, and you keep getting to wipe the field, because this card, on top of being a potential Omni Negate and or hand loop, well, it's also a Raigeki on summon, which is super good for going second. Really, really useful to bait out your opponent's interruption and then just summon this bomb, wipe the field, and just get into a nice position. If you choose to ignore Nibiru, you also get some link plays in this deck. Now, it really depends on the hand. There's even scenarios where you don't even need to worry about Nibiru, because sometimes you can get Ryzeal Cross a bit earlier. But yeah, essentially, as long as you don't special any of the Ryzeal cards from your hand using their own effects, you're not locked into only special summoning monsters, like rank 4 monsters from the extra deck. And so you can actually do a couple of link plays in this deck. Now, like I said, if you go for those lines, oftentimes you'll have to kind of just ignore Nibiru a little bit or fear it a bit less, which is not that big a deal, because both of your ritual monsters, which will get summoned within your link line, actually will just come back from the grave if they get tributed by Nibiru, on top of searching some extra cards. And oftentimes when you do those like nib unsafe lines, they get you a Sword Ryzeal in hand to do follow-up plays if you get nibbed. So all in all, I'd say like this deck is pretty damn safe from nib much of the time. While the deck is incredible going first and can play through multiple interruptions, it's still not nearly as infallible as Malice though, and that's probably a good thing. Now, I don't want to yap for too crazy long. I've probably already yapped a bit too long trying to introduce this deck. I will say overall this has been a pretty nice development for Master Duel. Today I spent the day, I was in gold rank because I haven't played much Master Duel at all ever since Malice was the best deck, because I just hated the game basically for a bit there. But this game kind of reignited my fire a little bit, so this morning and this evening, I basically went all the way from gold 5 to platinum 3, which obviously in terms of rank is not crazy. It's not super impressive or anything. but it is kind of nice that I even enjoy the game enough to play that many duels in succession. So, you know, for this video, I think what I'm mostly going to do is just take you to solo mode and show you 3 different one-card combos, and I think that should be good enough to give you a solid introduction to the deck. I don't want to get into a bunch of replays and stuff because I think this video is going to be pretty long already just with those 3 one-card combos and just trying to introduce a whole archetype. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so let's do some pretty clear-cut combos here just to give you an idea of the deck. So here we're going to pretend that our hand is only Ice Ryzeal, and for the Ryzeal cross, like at some point I'll have to search it, and I'll just search something else, but we'll pretend that I searched the Ryzeal cross. So you can just start off with normal summoning the Ice Ryzeal. Now here we're not going to respect Nibiru as much, but our deck is still really good at playing against it. So special the EXT Ryzeal from the deck with the Ice Ryzeal, then EXT Ryzeal, you search the Sword Ryzeal, and you don't want to summon this from your hand. So basically with this deck, if you don't special any Ryzeals from your hand, then you're not locked into only special summoning rank 4s from your extra. So if you want to do a little bit of link plays, you just want to do those before you ever use any in-hand special summon effects of your Ryzeal cards. So with these 2 here, we can go into our King of the Feral Imps. So use this and this to go into King. And then with King, you're going to search your Haba. So we go for King effect here, detach a material, and we get to search for our Habakiri. Then at this point, you can go for Habakiri effect. Special from the deck, your Saji. And then you tribute the King of the Feral Imps. You want to keep this level 4 on the field. Saji is going to search your Ritual spell. So add the Mitsurugi Ritual here. And we're going to go for Mitsurugi Ritual. And you want to go for the second effect to special the Haba from the hand. So you summon the Haba from the hand, and you send your 2 level 4s to the graveyard here from the deck. So you send your Serpent as well as your Kusanagi. So summon the Mitsurugi from the hand, just like that. And you get, you know, these 2 effects. Usually, I actually prefer chain blocking the Mikoto Kusanagi. The Serpent is a nice extra level 4 from the grave, but you get to search up prayers in this combo, which kind of allows you to get a level 4 anyway if you need to make a rank 4. So I'd rather be safe from Ghost Bell and chain block my Kusanagi. So I'll go chain link 1, Kusanagi, add back Ritual. Then I'll go chain link 2, Night Sword Serpent, special summon from the grave. I'd rather this get hit by Ghost Bell. I don't see Ghost Bell a lot, but, you know, just in case, that's usually the order I go for. So Kusanagi here adds the Mitsurugi Ritual back to the hand. And at this point, you have some Ryzeal cards in the grave. So you can actually make your Duo Drive using these 2 here. Make Duo Drive. And Duo Drive is going to gain a material from the grave. You can attach one of your Ryzeal cards. And then you can go for Duo Drive, and this is where you would search Cross normally. Now, obviously, we have Cross, so we'll just search Star instead, and Star will be like as if we didn't have Cross in hand. So detach, you know, whichever of these 2. I recommend keeping the Serpent attached, because if you detach the Serpent with the effect of Ryzeal Cross at some point on opponent's turn, it'll actually bring back the Serpent, which can be a nice little extender in some scenarios. So I usually leave the Serpent on there, and then, you know, we would add, well, this would be the Cross here. We'll just pretend this is Cross since we already have it in hand. And then I usually would add the Node Ryzeal to the hand. So we add Node here. Perfect. Now at this point, we can go for Ryzeal Cross that we just searched, right? We just searched it, and we have a material on this guy, so we are now officially nib safe. But if they went nib before, keep in mind your Ame no Habakiri would have searched and come back from the grave because of its tribute effect, and then you would have had some more follow-up with the prayers that it searches and stuff like that. So it wouldn't necessarily be over at that point. But anyway, here we can go for Mitsurugi Ritual. Mitsurugi Ritual can then summon from your deck the Murakumo. So you summon the Murakumo, tributing the Habakiri. Here's Murakumo. And then at this point, Habakiri is going to search prayers from the deck and come back from the graveyard. So Habakiri in the grave, tribute effect, search of prayers, and you get to bring back the Habakiri from the graveyard. So you get an extra nice little material here. Now, as soon as you start using these cards here, you basically get into the territory of, well, basically being locked into rank 4s. So usually I would use my prayer here because this guy can just search another one. So I would use my prayer, tributing a monster, and I would tribute the Murakumo to get his tribute effect. So you get to basically do both effects here. When you use prayer, be careful, okay? You can use the first one, which is to search. Second effect is to special from grave. But if you tribute, you get to do both, but you have to press a third option. So here we'll add to hand our Habakiri, which is like a free discard for later, for the node, for example. And you get to special summon to the field one of your level 4s. Doesn't really matter which one in this particular case. So we'll just bring back this guy. And then you have the tribute effect in grave of your Ameno Murakumo, which gets to add to your hand a prayers and then special itself from the grave. So we can special summon the Murakumo here. And so this way, the whole time, as soon as Dual Drive hit the field, we got to keep our monster negate. We get to use these two, make IP Masquerena right here, like so. IP Masquerena is here now. So with IP Masquerena, there's a lot of things you can do on opponent's turn. You can go Dynamondo. This has been properly summoned at this point, so if you went Dynamondo, you get to shuffle back the Habakiri and shuffle back one of your opponent's cards, and then also you get to bring back your Murakumo from the grave with the effect of the Dynamondo to get its board wipe effect on summon, because this is a Raigeki on summon. Otherwise, I mean, you can also just make SP and just bring back your Murakumo using the Mitsurugi prayers, or you might just use something else as material and keep the Murakumo on the field and just tribute it with Mitsurugi prayers and bring it back with its own tribute effect to summon back like a Kusanagi if you want to add back a prayers from grave or a ritual or whatever. So it is really, really crazy stuff. And keep in mind, at this point, we still have all this follow-up. Let's not count Star Ryzeal because this was a fake search, but we have Node and we have Sword, right? So pretty crazy stuff. So here, you know, you can summon out Sword effect. Now, you did not summon EXT from the hand. You did use the EXT search, but you didn't summon it from the hand. So you can search EXT here, and you can special out the EXT, and, you know, you can send, like, an aggregator since we still don't have Eclipse Twin. So EXT here, and, you know, we can use these two, make ourselves a detonator with these two. Get the detonator on the field, and then with this card, I mean, you know, you'll get to attach another material, attach the aggregator. You got a nice monster negate and 3 pops, and we still have more. We can special out our Node Ryzeal from the hand, use its effect. We can send our Habakiri that we don't really need in hand to the graveyard that we searched earlier, bring back one of our level 4s from the grave, and we can make ourselves a Ragna 0. So you lose the draw by doing this of the Ryzeal cross, but I don't really care that I lose that draw, because when I use Ragna 0, I'm going to get a draw anyway. So, like, on opponent's turn, I'll get a quick effect, pop an attack position monster, get a draw. It's technically more advantage than shuffling back 2 for Ryzeal Cross, so I do think it's better. And, you know, there's scenarios where you will have what you need to get the shuffles and get an extra draw as well. But, yeah, that's basically it. We didn't use any of the other cards in our hand. We have a spare prayers that we searched earlier with the effect of Murakumo, so you get to set this. And the amount of interruption you get here is just ludicrous. Like, this is absolutely insane. So this is like a pseudo Omni Negate or a hand loop, depending. Well, it's most often a hand loop, but sometimes an Omni Negate. This is a pop and draw. Here we have 3 quick effect pops or a monster and basically a card negate of some kind, although it's like a slow card negate. We have a monster negate attached to Dual Drive with our Ryzeal Cross. IP Masquerena can make either Dynamondo or SP on opponent's turn. We can use prayers to get a field wipe as well as get some extra recursion by tributing this card. So overall, I mean, we're just set. Like, there's a really good chance against, like, with a board like this, that against my opponent, I would just, like, use the Dual Drive material, you know, for the monster negate. That it has no more materials, I'd go, like, IP, use these two, and just make SP. And then, you know, I'd use the prayers instead and just treat Murakumo to get that grind game potential from this engine. It's just really, really insane. So, yeah, that's the 1-card combo. With just ice, we did all this. Just ice. Absolutely insane. And while it wasn't fully nib safe, it's relatively nib safe. So overall, I'd say pretty crazy. And now let's do another one card combo. This time we're going to start off with EXT Ryzeal. And we're going to be XCs locked. So I'm going to go for 7th Tachyon. Doesn't matter because we're going to get XCs rank 4 locked anyway as soon as we start our combo. So we're just not going to use the link cards in this case. We're going to add EXT Ryzeal because I want to show the EXT line. And let's just shuffle back the Mikoto. Doesn't really matter. Usually it gets used from the deck anyway in this combo. But yes, let's go EXT Ryzeal. And we can send to the grave our aggregator because the first XCs we're going to make, the way I played, I usually make detonator first. You don't really have to do it that way, but that's just the way I usually play it. So we're going to go for EXT Ryzeal, and we're going to add to our hand the sword Ryzeal. So add the sword, and then sword is going to add ice. So we special out the sword here, activate, search ice. And, you know, you can't really do this line if you don't play Star. Star can be a Garnet at times, so if you choose not to play it, this line is not for you. But I still play it because I like this line a lot, and I'm just a big fan of being nib safe. I always get hit with nib. I'm cursed with that card, so I like doing this combo. It's very similar to the, like, basic Ryzeal combo. It only changes a bit later on, but basically, you know, you go ice, special from the deck, the Star Ryzeal, set up your cross. You're now at 4 summons. And then, you know, you go cross. And from there, you can just make a good old detonator. That's the next play for me. So I go detonator. And again, you don't have to do this. I could have sent a Ryzeal card to the grave and, you know, just like did dual drive here, but you get to do dual drive later if you want to anyway, and you kind of don't need to. So we can use these two here to go into our King of the Feral Imps. King of the Feral Imps to search Habakiri. We're now safe from nib, and just generally we have a monster negate. Our 5th summon was a monster negate thanks to cross. We can go for King of the Feral Imps here, detach a material, get to search out our Haba, kind of like we did earlier. And I mean, this is going to be pretty damn similar to what we did earlier. So, you know, you go Haba, you special out the Saji, and you tribute the King of the Feral Imps because you want to keep that level 4 on the field. You get to go for Saji at the ritual spell. They look very similar, so be careful to add the ritual spell. Should always be the one at the left. We're going to go for Mitsurugi Ritual here, and we're going to summon the one from the hand. You start with the number 2 effect, and you summon the Haba, sending the Serpent as well as the Kusanagi to the grave. Summon out the Haba, and then we get the effect in the grave of our Serpent as well as our Kusanagi. I like chain blocking the Kusanagi a bit more. So summon out the Serpent with these two, just like that. Perfect. Special Serpent. Add back our ritual spell yet again. Then with these two, you know, you can go dual drive right now pretty much. Summon the dual drive in the extra monster zone, clear yourself some space. And dual drive can equip, well, attach, I mean, one of your Ryzeal cards in the grave from earlier. Then you can go for Mitsurugi Ritual right away. So Mitsurugi Ritual here. Special summon our big boy, Murakamo, using this. Murakamo to the field. That's an Omni Negate / hand loop. Pretty crazy if I do say so myself. Habakiri effect. Add prayers to the hand. Get to summon out the Habakiri. And similar to what we did earlier, we can just basically do another rank 4 play here. And I make Ragna 0. It could be Twister Dragon for you. It could be something else entirely. But that's what I go for. So just like I did earlier, I'm going to keep the Serpent just to get an extra summon if I need it. Well, if I want it when I detach from cross. And here you can add Node. And the next one could just be follow-up. So it could be Ice Ryzeal just as follow-up. Or you can just discard whatever. You can even just send the Habakiri to the grave. You know, like, it doesn't matter that much, honestly. But anyway, here we're going to special out the Node. I mean, honestly, do I care that much about the Ryzeal fall? I mean, yeah, I probably do. It's probably better here because we want to ignore the rest of our hand, right? I was going to say, like, I can discard one of these because I definitely don't need 2 trolls. But since we're doing a 1-card combo, we're going to keep it a 1-card combo. I'm just going to send the Habakiri to the grave. You really don't need to do that. You could just send a card from the hand and just summon one of our level 4s here. And similar to earlier, I'm basically foregoing the cross draw in this case just to make Ragna 0. their attack is still going to be affected by duo drive, so it's really not bad. And even then, like, yeah, I mean, I could still just bring back Haba with my prayer, tributing this, and it'll search another. So technically, and that's still within my 1-card combo. You know, I search this within the combo. So let's just do it. Let's just do it because, like, we get the full setup here. So you go tribute a monster, you tribute the Murakumo. You get to do both effects here. So we're going to add to our hand a Habakiri. And honestly, I could have done this earlier just to discard the Haba, but special summon to the field. We can just special summon with the effect, the Habakiri. And then the tribute effect of our Murakumo is going to trigger in the grave. Special itself back, and it gets to add a copy of Prayers. So again, we're ignoring the one we already had in hand at the start of the game. Special summon this dude back. And there we go. We basically have our setup, set the Prayers. I have this for follow-up, which I searched earlier, and this, which I searched as well, and everything else, you know, it was all already part of the hand. So another 1-card combo, this one EXT Ryzeal, and this one completely nib safe the whole way through. So if you care about that stuff, you know, you can run Star and do a combo like this. I really like it, but, you know, most of the time I end up not even playing that as much around nib just because this deck plays through nib really well. So maybe it's just me overthinking it, but I like this combo. For the next one, I'm going to do a combo where we start with the Mitsurugi engine. All right, so now I'm just going to show you how you can basically go full combo off of also just Habakiri. So we're going to try to avoid using any of the other cards in our hand, which I think in this case will not be an issue at all. So we're going to go for Habakiri here, special from the deck, the Saji. Saji can, will get tributed here, by the way. And Saji can then search our ritual spell. I also just want to mention that this Habakiri summon from deck effect is a once per duel effect. If it gets ashed, you don't get to do it again the turn after. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, so we get to add our Mitsurugi ritual here. And then we get to go for Mitsurugi ritual. You want to use the second effect. So second effect, we're going to, you know, ritual summon this dude using our 2 level 4s from the deck. So send those 2. And even if you have one of these in your hand, this still works, by the way. So summon out the Habakiri no Mitsurugi, and then you get the graveyard effect of Serpent. I didn't chain block it properly here. Usually I would go for this chain link 1, but it's the same difference, okay? So add back the Mitsurugi ritual, and you get to summon out your Serpent from the grave. So here we go. So after this, you can go for another, well, activate Mitsurugi ritual yet again, and this time you're going to summon from your deck the Murakumo using the Ame no Habakiri as material, and you get to summon out your Murakumo, which then lets you use the tribute effect of your Habakiri, which lets you summon it back and search it Prayers. So you search a Mitsurugi Prayers, special out your Ame no. Then you want to go for Mitsurugi Prayers, and you tribute your ritual Ame no Murakumo to get both effects. So you get both effects here. You get to add a Habakiri from deck to hand, and you get to special out one of your level 4s with the second effect of your Prayers. So here I'll just summon Saji again. Doesn't really matter which of the 2 level 4s you summon in this case. And then you get to go for the tribute effect of Murakumo, adding another copy of Prayers for, you know, your opponent's turn, and bringing it back to the field. At this point, you can use these 2 here and go into a Ryzeal duo drive since it's a generic rank 4. Unfortunately, no Ryzeals in the grave, so we will have to basically, we won't have a negate on this card just yet. But, you know, duo drive here, detach 2 materials, 1 and another one, 2. And you can search Ice Ryzeal since you haven't normal summoned yet, by the way. And then also, I mean, here it really depends how you want to play it. I'm going to be going for like link plays and stuff. So I think what makes the most sense for me is to grab probably a node Ryzeal just to get some like, or maybe even a sword. Yeah, I'm probably going to get a sword here. All right, we'll grab a sword. Then using these 2, you can go into an IP. So go IP using dual drive. We still haven't special summoned any Ryzeals from our hand, right? So make an IP Masquerena. Normal summon the Ice Ryzeal that we searched. And I'm ignoring the sword I already had in hand. You know, normally you obviously wouldn't search sword since I already had it, but in this case it's a little bit different. And I'm actually going to summon the Star Ryzeal from the deck here. Star Ryzeal gets to set up our cross. Yeah, then we can go cross activate. Perfect. We can make ourselves our detonator right away. And detonator can just, like, I'll just attach a serpent here to get a potential summon on opponent's turn, since there's nothing really better to attach in this scenario. Special the sword that I searched. Sword Ryzeal. Can then add to my hand the EXT. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could have done this a different order, but it's basically same difference. Yeah, I'll probably just send a aggregator. I might have messed up my order here, but it still kind of communicates what you need to do, at least for bridging from just playing the Mitsurugi engine all the way into setting up your Ryzeal combo. And, you know, our opponent's attack won't be changed. So here I might just, honestly, I think I'm going to go for the draws here. I think that's what I would do, you know. I think that's what I would do in this scenario. So we're going to go for this, skip our next draw phase, but get the draw 2, discard 1. So draw 2, discard 1. And I mean, this card here, it really depends. I guess it would be like Habakiri in my case. And then also with the detaching, you get some, you know, some of your Ryzeal names in the grave, so you can get an extra draw on top of that. So shuffle back 2. So, you know, we got 3 draws out of it. So we got like a cross out of that. We got our prayers, which we searched. I don't remember if called by was in the initial hand, but, you know, at this point, we did the 1-card combo. This was all done basically with Habakiri. I know we drew into Droll and Lockbird. So, you know, still like pretty insane stuff, all things considered. We have our Ryzeal detonator with a negate from the cross. I mean, we drew into some hand traps. We have cross out and called by. We have Mitsurugi prayers for the field wipe. We can IP using our Dugares to make SP if we want to. You know, like, we have a ton of options here. And in this case, because we had it in hand originally and didn't use it, we have follow-up as well, right? So all in all, I'd say not as good of a showcase as my other two, but at least it showed like going from Mitsu into Ryzeal. If you're better than me, just let me know in the comments what I should have done different. But anyway, I think this still is good enough to, like, if you're doing this stuff, you're probably getting to master rank no problem, honestly. All right, and those are the combos I'm going to show you today. Hopefully this video is helpful. And now we're going to be getting into the card by card. Just before we get into the card by card, I just want to mention some alternative cards you can run that I'm choosing not to run. So for me, my Mitsurugi package is 3 copies of the Habakiri. I think this is undebatable. And 3 prayers, as well as 1 copy of Murakumo, 1 of the Serpent, you know, Night Sword Serpent, 1 of the Saji, 1 of the Kusanagi, and 1 copy of the Ritual Spell. So some other options I've seen people play. Some people are playing a single copy or 2 copies of Aramasa. I really don't see the point. I don't want to summon this card pretty much ever. So, like, I understand that it's not a bad card, and especially if you're playing a more Mitsurugi focused build, maybe I can see it. This card basically adds a Mitsurugi monster from deck to hand. So, you know, you can go like Aramasa, and then you can go Aramasa, search, Habakiri, summon Saji tribute. Well, then you get to tribute the Aramasa. And, you know, it's not like completely atrocious or anything. I just don't really see the point for this deck in particular, like this build. So yeah, if you wanted to, you can run this. There's also the Mitsurugi trap card, which is really good, but this like deck already has issues with like half garnets and semi garnets. So even though this trap card is really good ceiling, if you're getting fully set up, you're going to win with this deck. Like, you do not need Great Purification to win with this deck. Even though it's nice to have an Omni Negate, and I understand that, you know, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you get to tribute one of your level 5 or higher reptile monsters and negate it, destroy that card. Then, of course, because your monster's tributed, it can come back with its own effect and wipe the board. Or you can just not do that, and then you can also banish this card from your grave and just special summon your ritual whenever you want to get a field wipe. It's really, really good. You only use 1 of its effects per turn, though, so keep that in mind. But yeah, this card is definitely not bad at all. It's just, if you're not playing pure, I kind of don't really agree with this pick, just because this deck already has issues, again, with like drawing half garnets and stuff. So I wouldn't really recommend it. Other options that you can run that some people were mentioning to me, Draglux, the Dragluxion. This guy can search 7th Tachyon, and then you can like use it to make, you know, like a Hope Harbinger, and that's definitely not bad. You know, you can make this pretty easily using your Murakumo as well as your Habakiri, but I never ever want to get rid of my Murakumo on the field, so I don't want to run this, but it is an option that you have. Also, like, I'd say the second aggregator and the Ragna Zero are both flex spots where you can put kind of what you want. I was considering Tornado Dragon. I mean, Tornado Dragon is it's pretty good. You know, there's some scenarios where this is probably better to be running than Ragna Zero. It's not like you really lack ways to pop monsters, so having an extra way to deal with back row might be worth running. I haven't really needed my second aggregator much, but I'm sure, like, in some grind games, it does come up to be able to EXT send aggregator on turn 3 or 4. You know, so that really depends. But you know, I'm just mentioning, you know, you definitely don't have to run this, and even the second aggregator is a little bit of a flex spot. Everything else I would say is pretty much necessary in the extra deck. Even Typhon, like, it's come up quite a few times, so I would like, this doesn't feel like a surrender button like it used to for me. Like, Typhon has saved my ass quite a few times. Also, Zeus. I'm not running Zeus, and I keep wanting to run it. Honestly, like, I might remove the second aggregator for Zeus, but I'm just not sure yet. And even the Link stuff is very optional. You really don't need to run it if you don't want to. I just enjoy doing it. So yeah, that's, you know, some extra options to consider. Make the build your own, you know, play it the way that you want to play it. This is really just meant to help you, you know, get a little starting point with the deck. So without further ado, let's just name the cards one by one. So we have 3 copies of Droll, 2 copies of Maxi, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 1 Night Sword Serpent, 1 copy of Perulia, double Fuelos, triple Sword Ryzeal, 1 copy, sorry, of Node Ryzeal, triple Ice Ryzeal, double EXT Ryzeal, 1 copy of Kusanagi, 1 copy of Saji, Star Ryzeal, 1 Nibiru. We've got our Murakumo, our 3 Habakiris, 1 Bonfire. I'm running 2 7th Tachyon. Just didn't want to run over 43, which is very arbitrary, I know. 1 Ryzeal Cross, 1 Mitsurugi Ritual, double Called By, 1 Cross Out, triple Prayers. You absolutely want 3 Prayers, by the way. Like, this card is crazy in the grind. As you saw, like, it's very easy to just search again, to recycle and stuff, and it keeps you in the grind game with the Mitsurugi engine. So definitely run 3 of this card. Plus, it's a 1-card combo as well, because you can just go Mitsurugi Prayers, search the Habakiri, and then go for like a lighter version of the Habakiri combo. So yeah, definitely run 3 of this. 3 copies of Imperm. This is kind of debatable. I mean, I could make it 40 and just remove Imperm, but it saved my ass quite a few times, especially going second into difficult boards. It's nice to have Imperm to just help you at least like deal with 1 threat or force out 1 negate before, you know, proceeding with your plays. So I like it. For the extra, you absolutely need King of the Feral Imps. I'm running Masquerade as my reveal for 7th Tachyon. Exciton Knight comes in super clutch. I think you do need to run it, honestly. This card going second will really save your ass and then allow you to like establish yourself. It's like, you know, you have this and you have the Murakumo. 2 ways of really clearing your opponent's cards. But Exciton Knight is also one of your best ways to deal with back row. I highly recommend it. We have, you know, Ragna Zero. We've got Dugares, 2 copies of Duo Drive. Oh, also Dugares is kind of a flex spot, but I really recommend this card, and it also helps with dealing with bigger bodies at times. If your opponent's summoning something crazy big, at least you get to make yourself like easily a 6,000 to 7,000 attack monster to just deal with any fat threat. Otherwise, getting to dig deeper for some hand traps is really good. So 2 Duo Drive, 2 Detonator is, you know, undebatable. 2 Aggregator I think is really good. Typhon is IMO a must play. You have IP Masquerena, Dynamondo, and SP Little Knight. These are not necessary, but I really like it. So I recommend trying it if you have the cards and giving it a spin. I think it's really fun to use this package. And with that, this most likely very long video is finally over. Thank you guys for checking it out. Leave a like, comment, all those things. It helps a ton. I'm going to be leaving for my wedding trip on the 14th of this month, and I'll be gone for a week. I might try to schedule 1 or 2 uploads during that time, you know, because I know I've been very absent and not very active on YouTube during the Malice format, but I am enjoying the format right now, and I'd like to be a lot more active. So worst case, you know, when I come back from the trip, we're going to have the event going on. There's going to be a lot of things to look forward to. Thanks for sticking with the channel. You guys have a good one, and yeah, peace.